Welcome to NBA Today, presented by Häagen-Dazs.
The New York Knicks, they're just 2 wins away from heading back to the conference finals for the 2nd straight season. And OG Anunoby, he is a huge reason why they're in this position, which is why it's so concerning that you see here he left last night's game with about 2.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. He did not return, and now his status, it could have a major impact on who comes out of the Eastern Conference. So we're joined by our senior insider, Shams Charania here. Shams, what do we know about OG's availability here for Game 3?
Malika, sources tell me OG Anunoby has been diagnosed with a right hamstring strain. The good news for the Knicks and Anunoby is that I'm told he has avoided a significant or serious level strain of that hamstring, and he's going to be evaluated day to day moving forward. He's actually even listed as questionable for Game 3 in Philadelphia on Friday night, just depending on the level of treatment over the next 24 hours. But there's going to always be caution when it comes to soft tissue injuries for the Knicks and Anunoby, who's been a player that has been one of the top two-way guys so far of these NBA playoffs. All
right, so he's going to be listed as questionable for this Game 3 and day-to-day moving forward, but it seems like Shams, he's avoided some serious injury here, which is good news. We appreciate that update, but as Shams mentioned, you want to be careful with him because the Knicks, they have a history of not having OG Anunoby. Let's go back here to the 2024 Eastern Conference semifinals. The Knicks taking on the Pacers here in New York. They jumped out to a 2-0 series lead, and that's, again, in large part thanks to OG here. But then things would take a turn right at the end of Game 2. He suffered a left hamstring injury that would keep him out of Games 3, Games 4, Games 5, Game 6, and that absence really hurt New York. They would go on to shoot just 35% from 3 in games without Anunoby compared to 43% with him. And the Pacers, they would come back to beat the Knicks in 7 games. So let's go to more recent history here. This regular season, much of the same in terms of the Knicks missing OG. In the 15 games he was missed, the Knicks, they were just 8-7. OG led the Knicks starters in offensive net impact this season, meaning the Knicks outscored opponents by 6.2 points per 100 possessions with OG on the court here. So that brings us to today's Inside the Game, powered by AWS. So AWS total leverage metric. What that means, it measures the impact that a player has on winning on offense and defense using matchups and expected field goal percentage. That's a little bit of mumbo jumbo, but this is what's important. OG has been one of the most important players this postseason, right? He ranks 2nd in total leverage among individuals remaining in the playoffs. He trails only Chet Holmgren. So OG is day-to-day here. Brian Windhorst, Kendrick Perkins. Brian, he's listed as questionable here for this Game 3. If he is going to miss time, what's that going to mean for New York?
Okay, a few things about that. First off, teams typically don't 100% know when a hamstring injury because it's soft tissue.
Right.
Secondly, teams will do subterfuge in the playoffs. For example, in the last round, the Toronto Raptors listed Emmanuel Quickley as day-to-day and questionable with a hamstring injury. He never played in the series, okay? So also, 2 years ago, OG missed 4 games with a hamstring injury, came back in Game 7, was completely ineffective, shouldn't have come back, but whatever. Earlier this year, he had a hamstring injury, he missed 9 games. So the Knicks probably have to prepare, and let's hope that that it's not that serious and that he's able to come back. But the Knicks probably have to prepare to miss him for a little bit of time. And we know that it's important. Now, when I will say this, Perk, if you're going to have OG injured, do it when you're ahead 2-0 in the series.
Right.
Okay? And do it when this guy right there, that shot, Mikal Bridges is playing his best basketball of the season right now, and the Knicks overall are playing their best basketball of the season. So they have some margin for error here, and they can withstand this, but don't expect him to be fresh as a daisy anytime soon.
Yeah, y'all ever seen the movie Friday?
Of course.
I know every line, Perk.
Yeah, so you remember when Smokey
Don't mess
was
with
like,
my emotions.
You remember when Smokey was like, I be playing mind games with Debo, right? This is one of them situations. I feel like the New York Knicks are playing mind games with the Philadelphia 76ers when they list them day to day. Because if I'm in the front office of the New York Knicks, there's no way in hell I'm bringing them back for 3 and 4. Like, it's not no day-to-day. No, you're out. We'll see you for Game 5 if you're available and if it's not that serious. But shout out to our producers and you, Malika, for pulling up that graphic about the importance of what he means to this team and his impact on both ends of the floor. Because one could argue that he might just be the most important player in the NBA to his team's success.
O'Brien was saying that he thinks he's the best two-way player left in the playoffs right now.
He's playing, I think, the best basketball of his career.
You know what? I can't argue with that. Now, we still got Wemby and Jaden McDaniels, but what I saw from him last night, especially when they went to that small ball lineup, he was playing the center position. And he did a damn good job at playing it. He allowed them to get out. It didn't affect them offensively. They had the space for Big Body Brunson to go to work. So again, the New York Knicks are looking like the favorite of coming out of the East. Let's be honest here, right? The Cavs, they have flaws. Detroit, right? And so when I'm looking at it, I'm saying to myself, like, hey, look, be cautious with this.
Right.
I wouldn't even, he wouldn't even get on the plane going to Philadelphia if it was left.
I think they take a bus.
Yeah, I think they might be driving. They might be driving to Philadelphia. Brian, real quick, so looking ahead to Game 3, where he is listed as questionable, but we don't know whether or not he's going to play. Who do you expect to slide into that spot if he is unable to go?
Good question. So they have a couple of different ways they can go. They can go with Miles McBride and play a little smaller because Mikal Bridges can slide down to really, a lot of people think he's a 3 anyway. Yeah. And then you can start big. You can put Mitchell Robinson and Karl Towns together.
But we know they're not afraid of playing the hack of Mitchell Robinson.
That's true. Some of it may depend on whether or not Joel Embiid plays. They may try to figure out whether they should play small or big. So there's some ways they could go. They could play Landry Shamet too.
Right.
Mike Brown has some options. Yeah. But I will just say that the Knicks are in a good. Obviously, you're going to lose a player. It's never a good time. But they are playing their best basketball. Bridges has a bunch of confidence right now. They can withstand. They can withstand this.
Well,
not again.
Yep.
Not again.
Stephen A. Talking Knicks, and he appears.
Thank you. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
What's up?
You're in a better mood, huh?
We're just talking about the OG injury.
It's not that bad.
Oh, we put him in a worse mood again.
Listen. Don't play him games 3 and 4.
That's what Brian was saying.
Don't play him games 3 and 4. Let him sit out. Worst case scenario is you coming back to the Garden tied 2-2. That's the worst case scenario. And I don't think that's going to happen. Somebody might step up. You might be able to steal one in Philadelphia. You do what you got to do to make sure OG is going to be all right because we need him to go to the finals. Yeah. We're not going to the finals without him. We need him to go to the finals. So you do everything you can to preserve everything for him. Therefore, he'll be ready for Detroit, I believe, who will beat Cleveland. I believe they'll beat Cleveland. Okay. So I'm going to need him for Detroit.
We were saying that he may be the single most, when you're talking about two-way players, that he might be the best two-way player that's left in the playoffs right now.
Might be.
Wemby obviously has a case for that.
That's right.
Jaden McDaniels, Kirk was saying.
And Jaylen Brown is home.
What Kirk and Stephen A. are saying,
left field.
What Kirk and Stephen A. are saying is act like a championship contender. If you got a team that's playing this well, act like you got to play 4 rounds. Act like you can withstand the loss of a key player.
Well put.
And hey, listen, they've won 5 games in a row. They're up 2-0. They're in great shape.
But Wendy, again, we're talking about the Knicks and their fan base. Well, they're delusional.
Talk how you want to.
No, I know, but they need teaching. They're learning through this process on how to act like legit title contenders.
You being a champion.
I'm just saying, in certain cities that they just.
I will openly admit, we do get a bit beside ourselves. You know what I'm saying? They win a game or they win a series. Like when they beat Boston last year. Hell, I was at the Garden acting like we didn't win a championship. We do have to calm down. There is standards to meet. There's a difference between a championship and winning a playoff series. I get it. We got to calm down. But that doesn't mean we lack appreciation for what we're seeing from them offensively with Mike Brown putting the ball in Cat's hands and turning him into a facilitator and a playmaker, and Jalen Brunson off the ball, and Mikal Bridges finding a stroke, and OG being that wild card playing the way that he's been playing. The New York Knicks are looking like a team. They've looked like a team at least over 4 games. I'm not going to say last night, but the previous 4 playoff games, they look like a team that could win the championship. But that was against Atlanta and game 1 against Philly. That's not OKC. That's not San Antonio.
The best thing they got going for them is they won last night. Yeah. If they'd have lost last night, we would have had a different conversation. Now they have a margin for error.
But
so they need to use it.
Well, let me say this. Now, we do got to highlight Big Body Brunson and what he's been doing in Philadelphia. And I ain't talking about winning the national championship. I'm talking about over the last 2 seasons. In Philly, he's damn near averaging close to 40. Like, real talk. So
and
he's real cozy in that arena.
And they love him there because of his Villanova days. So it's like another home game.
That's why Joel Embiid said this is like Madison Square Garden East. You did bring up the San Antonio Spurs, and you did bring up the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yes.
Let's get to those two teams because Anthony Edwards and
I'm leaving. I'm going to leave it to y'all. Y'all need
All right,
me.
we got this.
Y'all got this.
We
This is your show,
appreciate
Malika. I know my place. I ain't trying to take off. I'm getting up out of here.
We're going to get to a fair next time here. All right.
No problem.
Wemby, he set the tone early in this one. He only scored a total of 11 points in game one, and he came out in this one, scored 11 points in the first 9 minutes. The majority, Perk, you were asking him to look like a big while they were in the paint. So the Spurs, they had a game plan, though, of doubling Anthony Edwards. Check out Mitch Johnson coaching them up here.
Here, get up, get up, get up. Hands. Stay here.
I love it. I love the passion. And you can see, like, hey, look, this is a must-win situation for us. And by the way, a lot of coaches should follow this game plan. It's a sign of respect. Get the ball out of your best player's hands and make somebody else beat us.
Well, also, when you double him, it upsets him. We've seen that. We've seen that happen over the last couple of years.
Well, 14 double teams.
This was crazy.
8 turnovers.
I ain't never seen a shot like that. Never ever seen that.
He
was already
plan.
up in the air when he caught the ball and shot it with a great release.
Victor Wembanyama is loving it. And then did you guys see this? The Spurs fans having a little Ant-Man raid, pest control sign?
Okay.
Getting clever. All right. Here's even Ant's liking it. Here's Victor Wembanyama with our George Sedano.
There's obviously a lot of chatter about their experience versus your inexperience. What does a game like tonight say about that?
It says we don't care.
Very simple. Congratulations, Victor.
You set a ton for us. Come on, man.
All right, Victor, thank you.
Well,
Bismack Biyombo supposedly 6'10".
Exactly. He's looking like me out there. And by the way, the bravado of youth, right? We don't care. The Spurs are their first team to win a playoff series while having 3 players under 23 years old scoring in double figures since the 2011 Thunder. That's when Durant, Westbrook, and Harden did that. As for Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves, how concerned are they after the loss?
Yeah, I mean, they won by 40. I would have a lot of belief. They came out, and I feel like, I wouldn't say that we was too comfortable. They was just a more desperate team. I think that's the term. My mama used to tell me a hard head make a soft ass, and that's what happened tonight. So, I mean, those guys, I took my hat to those guys. They came out, they played hard, they was the more desperate team, and they wanted it.
Tonight, and SGA has the most consecutive 20-point games in NBA history at 140. That's after he broke Wilt Chamberlain's record earlier this season. But that's actually a regular season record, and it's still active, and that's what makes the Lakers, what they did in Game 1 of the conference semifinals, so impressive here, because they held SGA under 20 points for the first time all season long. So, Kendrick Perkins, how exactly did they do it?
Well, Malika, listen, we call him Shea Butter for a reason. It's because he's smooth and he always get off, but the Lakers buttered him, okay? And they bobbled him up in a way that we've never seen before. Excellent game plan. I want you to look at Marcus Smart. Applying pressure, testing his handle, and then all of a sudden calls for the double team, traps him, get the ball out of his hand, and then you have LeBron James, one of the best in the business at reading plays, gets the steal, get out in transition. Okay, here we go in the second half. Again, all attention. They don't even care about Jalen Williams. They leave, LaRavia comes and trap. All of a sudden, we're looking. Great activity. Austin Reeves read the play. You force a turnover. But unfortunately, it didn't work. You hold Shea to 18 points, but all of a sudden, in those 18 plays that he was trapped, the rest of the Thunder went 8 for 13 from the field and 3 for 4 from the three-point line. So, again, this is what makes the Thunder so dangerous, is because they have so much depth and so many guys that can play at an extremely high level that sometimes you don't need SGA to score 30 or 35 points.
And meanwhile, Perk, the Lakers are going to have to try to keep finding a way without Luka Doncic. And the Lakers, they went 10-8 in the games without Doncic during the regular season, but they only went 4-8 against eventual playoff teams, and they were outscored by almost 10 points per game in those contests. And Luka, he actually spoke about the rehab process for the first time yesterday.
Yeah, I'm running. Right now I'm running, but I haven't done any contact. I haven't been clear yet to do any contact. I'm just doing everything I can, like I said. You know, every day I'm doing stuff I'm supposed to do. You know, obviously recovery, now I'm working. But like I said, doctor said 8 weeks at the beginning of the first MRI. So, you know, I'm just going day by day, and I feel better every day.
So let's just check in on the timeline here, right? Because it's been 5 weeks, actually exactly, since Luka's initial injury. That was on April 2nd, also against the Thunder. That means by his timeline, he's still 3 weeks away. Even if this series went a full 7 games, it seems unlikely that Luka would be back until the conference finals if the timeline that he's talking about stays the same here. So since we're talking about Luka, it doesn't seem like he's going to be coming in through the open door as the knight in shining armor anytime soon here, Brian. So for the Lakers to do the improbable, to even up this series, what needs to happen?
They did so many things well in Game 1.
They really did.
It's a little bit disheartening that they still lost by 18. One of the things they got to do is they got to get the turnovers down. And like they forced a bunch of turnovers, as you were illustrating, but 18 turnovers for the Lakers. The Thunder are obsessed with possessions. The first stat that they look at during the games is how many possessions do we have? Before rebounds, before anything else, how many possessions? They actually played them even in possessions, guys, in this game. That is a victory because the Thunder beat everybody in possessions. But the 18 turnovers, they could have had a possession advantage. They only got 90 points. They're going to have a hard time scoring without Luka against this team. I know it's simple. Everybody says it. The Thunder are bred to cause turnovers. But that's a place to start. Keep the turnovers down. You give yourself a better chance.
Well, and you got to value the hockey assists because we just showed on those highlights the turnovers came from guys trying to either make the assist, the home run pass.
Right.
You got to make the hockey assist, the pass to the pass. But I'm going to say this. Austin Reeves, he has to show up. He has to show up. Rich Paul caught a lot of heat on his podcast with him and Max Kellerman. I forget the name of it, but when he said, you know, hey, it's Austin Reeves and Luka guys that you go build your franchise around. And the answer is, can you deliver, Luka? Austin Reeves. Bron needs you. We can't put too much ownership on Marcus Smart. He got the assignment of guarding SGA. I know they double teaming him in the half court, but he putting so much energy in picking them up 94 feet, denying them and stuff like that. So this is a moment for Austin Reeves. He's auditioning right now.
And we're going to hear more on the plan for Austin Reeves tonight because he is coming off an injury of his own. But I kind of am expecting 2 things in this game, right? One, I'm expecting the Lakers to score more than 90
NBA Today, presented by Häagen-Dazs.
The ball still stuck behind the basket. Maxey, you're tall. You try it.
I like hearing. Come on. They're booing him in the garden.
I didn't say anything to Andre and none of them, but I did say something to Maxey, and that's why y'all saw us laughing at the free throw line because he walked up to me and I was like, I went to Kentucky longer than you, so I have a little more experience, you know, with the geometry and all that comes with getting the ball off of that.
You know what, Malika and Wendy? It's an art to this stuff like this, and it's a science to this. And the worst thing in the world for me is having Richard Jefferson laugh at me. Andre Drummond should be ashamed of himself.
That looks really up there.
This is...
Oh, Perk, you got it? Are you sure?
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
It's an easy word.
Never in doubt, Perk.
Around the crib, they call me Jack of all trades. I get it done, Wendy.
In doubt. Perk, you're doing it all for us. And Kat did a little bit of everything yesterday for the New York Knicks without Joel Embiid. Nice job, buddy. With no Embiid in the paint, though, that means it was wide open. So let's take a look at Karl Anthony Towns, right? Receives the ball around the three-point line. It pulls the rim protector Andre Drummond out here, Perk.
Yeah, this is the quote-unquote Golden State offense where you have spacing. And great job by Mike Brown unlocking this version of Karl Anthony Towns.
Well, and it was Karl Anthony Towns once again. Look, here he spots Mikal Bridges, who's cutting to the basket. And he's able to lay it up and in. Again, so Cat averaged just 3 assists in the regular season. He had doubled that mark in the playoffs. And especially with no Joel Embiid, they're really able to take advantage. But Cat can also impact things without the ball in his hands.
Yeah, because he's arguably the best shooting big to play the game, but having the spacing and having to draw so much attention and it opens up for guys like Big Body
And
Brunson.
with no Joel Embiid, whatever you want it, that's the way they need it. They got everything they wanted in the paint. The Knicks, they have outscored Philly by 52 points in paint this series. That is tied with the 2001 Lakers for the best paint scoring margin through 2 games of a playoff series since tracking began back in 1998. So staying in the Eastern Conference here, we got game 2 tonight of the Cavaliers and Pistons. Cleveland in danger of falling down 0-2 for the second straight year. As we say hello to our Jamal Collier, who's covering this series and is in Detroit. Jamal, how exactly are the Cavaliers planning to bounce back?
Malika, it starts with turnovers. It's been the story all postseason for James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. They gave the Pistons 31 points off those turnovers in game 1. And Harden and Mitchell, they've been confident really throughout this playoffs that these mistakes have been self-inflicted and that they can clean them up. And I've been with these guys since the start of this playoff run. That's been really that confidence and poise has been how they've been projecting no matter after a win and especially after a loss. So much that Kenny Atkinson, their coach, says, sometimes I can't tell if it's regular season or playoffs, the way that these guys and their demeanor has been. Wrote about this for ESPN.com as you see that bond between Harden and Mitchell. Mitchell said he's really happy to have a kindred spirit in James Harden, a guy who's been through these moments before, who's been in deep playoff runs, but has ultimately come up short and hasn't won a championship. And the reason for that poise and confidence is because Mitchell says, look, we've put in the work. We made the big trade for Harden, and now it's time to trust in that. And he doesn't really feel the pressure of what's really an important postseason run for these Cavaliers.
Yeah, it's an excellent story. Their connection is so important for Cleveland, but they can't find camaraderie and turnovers. Both of them can't be struggling with that, as you mentioned, Jamal. We really appreciate the insight into the Cavaliers here. Since we're talking about the turnovers, take a look at this. The Cavs, this has been the story for them all postseason. They have at least 15 turnovers in 6 straight games, Perk. That's the worst streak in franchise postseason history. The last team to reach the finals averaging at least 17 turnovers a game. Anyone know? You got to go all the way back to 1996. It was the Sonics. Perk, yesterday, you had a lot to say about the Cavaliers in all of this and their responsibility and who needs to step up. So how important is this game, too?
Oh, it's very important. Another must-win situation. Wendy, you got to vote, right? You voted for.
I did.
What about you?
I like that you kept the broom, by the way.
I got to. I worked magic with it, so it might come home with me. Listen, here's the thing. You got to vote, right? You voted Donovan Mitchell, All-NBA?
I did.
Me too. Is he playing like it?
He is not.
No, so that's simple. Like, hey, raise your level of play. Because the guy that you're playing against in Cade Cunningham over the last 4 games, he's playing like an all-NBA player. So, yeah, we could point the finger at James Harden and wonder, should Coach Atkinson make decisions? I get all that. Evan Mobley got to toughen up. But it comes down to Donovan Mitchell rising to the occasion, especially on the road. Damn it, go play like an all-NBA player.
Yeah, they're 0-4 on the road in these playoffs. And on the road, you need your best players because your role players aren't as trustworthy. So you've got to get better play from those 2 guys. The last 6 games, they've lost 4 of them. The 2 that they've won, they've had to come from behind. Donovan and James Harden are shooting 40%. The turnovers are one thing. You put the turnovers and the low shooting percentage. Also, Donovan is only getting to the line about once or twice a game. Like, the efficiency is down. Like, this is not what they need to upset a number 1 seed.
And also, let's see, like, Cade wasn't efficient in game 1, but he still, was powerful in the things that he was doing offensively. I want to see what kind of defensive adjustments they're going to make. Are they going to trap him like we're seeing the Lakers do with SGA or, other teams are doing that, getting the ball out of the best players?
And Jalen Duren, he really found his stride in the last 5 minutes of that game. Is this the thing that's going to carry over for him now and unlock him for the rest of the postseason? All right, we're mostly focusing on the 8 teams that are left in the playoffs, but it does mean that there's 22 teams in off-season mode. So let's just check in on the best of the rest. We're going to start in Chicago. That's where the Bulls, they introduced their new vice president of basketball operations, Bryson Graham, yesterday. And team CEO Michael Reinsdorf, he joined him at the podium and addressed Bulls fans directly. Take a listen.
First of all, I want to start with our fans. I need to say I'm sorry because the results obviously just haven't been there. It's not something I'm proud of, and it's something that I want to get right.
All right, so the Bulls, they still need a head coach, Brian. What are you expecting from their new front office?
Well, Bryson made it very clear. He wants to take it slow. He's got 2 first-round picks in this draft. We'll see what happens with the lottery. I would say, based on the competitiveness in the East and what they've got in this roster, this is probably going to still be a multi-year rebuild unless they hit a jackpot and win the lottery. And I think Bryson communicated that also. He wants to take time to pick the right coach, so it could be a while.
Yeah, but also you don't want to be stuck in the middle, and that's where Chicago has been. In Boston, since getting bounced from the playoffs, Jaylen Brown's live stream. It's gotten a lot of attention here. That includes a $50,000 fine from the league, questions aimed at team president even, Brad Stevens, about Brown's relationship with the Celtics. So after all that, Jaylen attempted to clarify his thoughts. Let's go back to the live stream.
A lot of stuff swirling around the Celtics and the organization. Hate that our president of basketball operations even had to respond to this. Me and Brad have a great relationship. I love Boston. If it was up to me, I could play in Boston for the next 10 years.
Is that an SB in the background? That doesn't matter. Perk, did that help or hurt things for Jaylen and the Celtics?
Hurt, because he's doubling down on multiple things, right? And the thing is, when you speak after a postseason game or you speak as a current player, you start to lose the trust of not only the organization but the trust of your teammates. And him saying that this was the best season of his career or the most fun he's ever had, you won a championship. How do Jason Tatum feel about that? At this point, just go on vacation.
Fair point. All right, the Bucks, they introduced their new head coach, Taylor Jenkins, yesterday, and several players. Yeah, he does. Well, a lot of players were there. Giannis was not one of those players. Now, Bucks co-owner Jimmy Haslam, he also spoke to reporters, and he addressed the possibility of trading Giannis. And here's what he said, quote, "I just think before the draft is the natural time." Haslam also refuted prior reports about the relationship between Giannis and the organization. He said, quote, "It's still very positive." Now, the NBA draft is less than 2 months away, Brian. So was this a big deal?
Yes, this is the most important thing that's been said in the Giannis situation in weeks, if not months. Jimmy Haslam made it clear that he wants clarity. Clarity from Giannis so the organization can have clarity, and it's going to happen soon, thank God. And so what does it mean? What is the clarity? Clarity is, Giannis, are you in or out? In means probably extending his contract later this fall when he's available. If it's anything other than, yes, I'm 100% in, trade him. And that trade was what he said, we're going to try to do it before the draft. Awesome, and we'll know a lot more after the lottery, where the Bucks might be picking, where teams that might make offers for Giannis might be picking, and that will be an important step.
But there's only 1, 3. Look, this is the top 5 projected picks in the 2026 NBA draft. This is according to ESPN's Jeremy Woo. What do they all have in common? All freshmen. Now, AJ Dybantsa and his father, Ace, they reflected on how he got to where he is now and what his goals are when he does inevitably get drafted, in an exclusive conversation with our friend, Sean Farnham.
AJ does not understand what breaks means. He just wants to play basketball every day.
I think AJ Dybantsa is a generational talent. And I'm telling you right now, he ain't gonna stop working.
The kid is locked in. He's married to basketball.
AJ Dybantsa, the potential #1 pick in the upcoming NBA draft, isn't your typical 19-year-old. Never mind the jaw-dropping scoring ability.
Oh, he spins one home! Come on, man. What can he do?
Or the otherworldly athleticism.
Oh! AJ Dybantsa! My goodness!
It's what the public doesn't see that sets him apart.
More intentional that dribble. 7, good. Count it.
I usually have 3 workouts a day. We'll get on the court around 9. Usually an hour and a half, depending on how my body feels. Treatment, soft tissue again, stretching, then I'll get into a lift. And then I'll head back on the court at 4 for just shooting.
Put yourself in the arena mentally. We're already there.
The gym. There's no secret. 8th grade, he played against older kids. High school, they used to beat him up. He used to cry. He didn't realize it was a process. And then he grew 5 inches. Came out of COVID, he's just like 6'4", but I was like, AJ, I said, yep, that's him. While you were eating Doritos, he was working.
What are some of the things that he had to give up in his childhood to become
the person and the player that he is today.
You got time for this? He didn't hang out with his friends. There was no proms. There was no birthdays. There was no going on vacation. I mean, name it. No girlfriend. Name it. He gave up a lot, but that's the choice that he made.
I mean, I'm just very much one of the few things in the world that I love. So anything that I love, I'm going to be passionate for.
Dybantsa's passion was cemented in high school, fueled by the voice of fellow Boston native, Terrence Clark.
Being a Boston kid, everybody looked up to him. He would always pull me aside and be like, bro, you're going to be the next one. So I kind of that kind of boosted confidence in me.
And now we have such sad news.